Ancient martyrdom stories might seem distant, Ian, but here's something wild. The account of resistance in Second Maccabees reads like today's headlines: corrupt officials selling positions of power, cultural suppression, and people risking everything for religious freedom.
That's such an interesting parallel, Pappy. How does a 2,000-year-old text remain so relevant to modern conflicts?
Well, let me tell you about this incredible scene that sets the tone. There's this guy, Heliodorus, who tries to raid the temple treasury, and suddenly, boom, these celestial horsemen appear and take him down. It's like ancient supernatural security footage.
Hmm. But beyond the dramatic elements, what really strikes me is how this isn't just recording history, it's about making sense of suffering and resistance.
Do you know what's fascinating? The book actually tells us it's an abridgment of a 5 volume history by Jason of Cyrene. And unlike the first book of Maccabees, which is basically a military chronicle, this one's laser focused on the spiritual meaning behind everything.
So it's more like a theological interpretation of historical events than a straight historical account.
Exactly. And it introduces some pretty revolutionary concepts. Like there's this powerful scene where Judas Maccabeus collects money to offer sacrifices for fallen soldiers, one of the earliest references to praying for the dead in Jewish literature.
That's such a significant theological development for its time. And what about these martyrdom stories I keep hearing about?
Oh man, these are intense. There's this elderly scribe named Eleazar, and this mother with her 7 sons who choose execution rather than eat pork. Each death scene includes these powerful speeches about resurrection and divine justice.
The psychological depth in those accounts must be devastating to read. How did they maintain such conviction in the face of death?
Well, that's where the book's sophisticated understanding of divine justice comes in. It's not presenting this simplistic good guys win narrative. Instead, it's exploring how God's justice might work on a longer timeline than human expectations.
That reminds me of how modern resistance movements often draw strength from similar beliefs about ultimate justice.
And speaking of resistance, let's talk about what sparked all this. Antiochus the Fourth Epiphanes, who basically launched this massive campaign of cultural suppression. He banned religious practices, desecrated the temple, and tried to force everyone to abandon their traditions.
The way you describe it makes me think about modern situations where minorities face cultural erasure. What happened next?
That's when Judas Maccabeus steps in. But here's what's fascinating. While he's this brilliant military commander, the book keeps emphasizing that the real victory comes from divine intervention. There are these amazing descriptions of heavenly warriors appearing during battles.
The blend of human resistance and divine help seems to be a crucial theme throughout.
Absolutely right. And it all builds up to this incredible climax with the defeat of Nicanor, this arrogant governor who had threatened to destroy the temple. His defeat becomes this perfect symbol of divine justice finally being served.
And this whole narrative eventually leads to the establishment of Hanukkah, right?
Yes, the rededication of the temple becomes this powerful symbol of religious freedom and divine faithfulness. What's amazing is how these events, written down over 2,000 years ago, still resonate with people celebrating Hanukkah today.
That's what makes these ancient texts so fascinating. They're not just historical documents, they're like survival manuals for faith under pressure.
And you know what's really striking? the way the book handles corruption in religious institutions. The high priesthood becomes this thing you can basically buy if you have enough money. Jason and Menelaus turning sacred offices into political commodities.
Well, that certainly sounds familiar in terms of modern institutional corruption.
The book's genius is how it weaves all these elements: corruption, resistance, martyrdom, divine intervention into this larger narrative about maintaining faith and identity under extreme pressure. These stories became a source of strength for countless generations facing their own struggles.
And here we are, Pappy, still finding relevant lessons in these ancient texts about resistance and hope in the face of overwhelming odds.
You know what, Ian? Maybe that's the most powerful thing about Second Maccabees. It's not just preserving history, it's providing this timeless template for how communities can maintain their identity and faith even when everything seems stacked against them.